honored to be here today. So the theme of today is the strength in our past gives us faith in our future. As I was preparing for this presentation and I was talking to Mrs. Smith and several different people, I was trying to come up with the perfect words to say. But when you talk about having faith, nothing is perfect about that, right? Nothing is. You have a past and a story that is uniquely for you. The story doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. It is your personal God-given testimony. Today, I want you to take a closer look to remind yourself of what it truly means to walk by faith and not by sight. It's when you pray and you don't immediately hear an answer. Or you hear an answer that you want to erase from your mind, but you know it's the truth. However, over time you receive infinite wisdom from your experiences and hearing from someone around you. When my parents used to go to work when I was growing up, I'm from New Orleans, and I used to spend some time with my grandmother. My grandmother used to love listening to Mahalia Jackson. Anybody like to listen to Mahalia Jackson? So her song was How I Got Over. So my grandmother would start singing that song, How I Got Over, how did I make it over? You know, my soul looked back and wondered how I got over. And I didn't know what that was about, so I'd probably chuckle and laugh a little bit, and she'd look at me and say, start singing more. Lord, we've been falling and rising all these years. Yeah. But you know, my soul looked back and wondered how I got over. Yeah. I didn't know what that was about. But she'd look at me and say, one day you're going to understand that. You live long enough, you're going to understand it. If my grandmother were alive today, I would tell her she was right. You see, they read my bio, but they didn't tell you the backstory. So, I have been laid off and fired before, and I was devastated. You know, you think you have your perfect plan mapped out, your checklist, and then life just gives you some curveball and you're trying to figure it out. I have faith, but I need a staircase to lift me up, and all I can see is another mountain ahead of me. But I know it's going to be all right. I just don't know when.
Right.
How many of you can relate to this in some way? All right. But the students in this audience, I'll bring it to you in a different way. Have you ever not gotten the grade that you thought you were going to get? You were kind of devastated about it? Or you tried out for a team and you didn't quite make it? Or your parents or your teachers tell you something and it's for your good, but all you hear is no, 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 and you're like, why? Is anybody an entrepreneur or business person in this audience? Did you have your perfect plan mapped out? It was all going to be aligned, and it didn't quite work out the way you thought? Or what about a relationship you thought would last forever, and it didn't? Or have you thought you were going to receive a raise or promotion, and it didn't happen? Whatever your circumstances are, the strength in our past gives us faith in our future is a reminder that it's going to be all right. So I want to give you some inspiration to take with you. Is that all right? So here's a box, an inspirational box. And you might say, why would I want to keep a box? Well, you need some reminders that everything's going to be all right.
Right.
So you need the patience to persevere. The patience to persevere. So what does that really mean? It's to be mindful when life challenges you. And as I was preparing for the presentation today and thinking about the perfect words, I realized that everything that I had written down was aligned with the program. So I would say that was divine intervention.
Oh, yeah.
So you have highlighted in there the book of James, and I'll tell you, that's my favorite book, because it all talks about patience. In verse 2, it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Not lacking anything. Take a deep breath. I've read this several times, and each time I have to close my eyes because I need to rest and assure myself that everything's going to be all right. You have to have that patience to persevere when everything is not aligned in that perfect plan. So my motivational box is full of inspirational reminders. So when I was trying to figure out, oh, my perfect plan didn't work out, I have a story to tell, I don't know if I want to tell it, and I decided that I wanted to take a path in education as an informal route. And I was doing some part-time work. So imagine going from, anybody that's going from full-time to part-time work, and you're trying to figure out, I'm going to pay this bill, I'm going to make this work, I need a village of friends to help you out. So when the opportunity came at the museum, I couldn't align this story if I wanted to. It's a God-given path, because I'll tell you what happened. Is that all right? Yeah. So I had been doing some consulting work, and the person who was helping me get these opportunities left. And the person from the museum whose job I replaced went into that role. And I went into that role at the museum. And there's somebody here that was at the Frontier Supply Museum that knows that invited me to the luncheon, and I didn't know 6 months later that's where I'd be working. So a mentor of mine gave me a card. And the card says, "It's never been a question of if, it's always been a matter of when."
Right.
When. God's timing, not my own. So when you have the patience to persevere, you have to rest in knowing that it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Not a moment sooner. So there's another verse in the book of James that's a reminder of that. "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." It's never been a question of if. It's always been a question of when. Now this next thing that you need in your box is hard for some of us. To be resilient and take time for self-care. I want you to look at the person next to you. Say, it's okay to take a break.
Okay to take a break.
To the servant leaders in the audience, it's okay to take a break. It doesn't mean that you are not thankful for your blessings. It doesn't mean you don't trust God because you need to take a break. I am not a proponent of the team no sleep. If you are a proponent of that, you're not that productive if you don't sleep, right? You make a lot more mistakes. And if we're trusting in the timing of when, get some rest. Are we going to get some rest?
Oh, yeah.
Self-care is okay?
Yeah.
Turn to the person next to you and say, did you get that?
Did you get that?
Now, we have patience perseverance, we're resilience, we take time for self-care. You have to have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have a sense of humor. And you're saying, like, really, is this going to happen again? And here's where you really have to have a sense of humor. We have many generations now. We have our elders that have stories that lift us up. We have baby boomers. We have Gen X. Any Gen X's in the house? Hey, nobody likes to remember us, we're like in the middle. We have millennials. And we have Gen Z that are the students now. But one thing that we can all agree upon all generations, we all like to feel valued and appreciated, right? Right? Right. You don't need to have a stereotype. If you want to get across to someone, you ask them what's their story. Instead of accusing them of being a way that we may have read about, right? Right. We talked about earlier, you read my Bible, but you didn't know my backstory.
Okay.
So it's very important that we do that. So we all agree laughter is good for the soul.
Right.
Let's give a good smile. Smile at the person next to you. See how it changes the whole room? And we can fellowship with one another. And we can all learn from each other, right? So I have students that I interact with all the time. I was the least comfortable with K through second grade students. I said, no, I'm never going to do that. No, that's not my gift. So what happens when you say you can't do something? That's what you're going to do. So I worked at Hard House, and I was with K through second grade students. And I learned something about, we celebrate our past, we want to move in our future, but we have to be present.
Yes.
So the K through second graders taught me how to be present. And so some of those times when I was going in there, and I thought I was empowering them, they were empowering me. So one day I was having a really bad day. I don't even know what it was about. It's probably something small. And the student, they know you. You know, they know you more than you think you do. So I was having a big bad day, and I tell this story all the time. The students say, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing. They said, okay. Came back another time. What's really wrong with you? I said, nothing. They came back the last time. They dropped the mic, as they say. Listen, I don't know what's wrong with you, but don't come back here tomorrow. So that was a valuable lesson to me. Yes, we look at our past and we have faith in our future, but we have to be present in the moment. Remember, it's not a question of if, when. If we truly want to be present in the moment, we have to let go of when. And when somebody nudges you that's a different generation than you and tell you to get it together, they see right through whatever facade you're trying to put in. So what was our first thing that we needed to do? Does anybody remember? Perseverance. What was the second thing?
Self-care.
Self-care, and then have a sense of humor. Now, as I was preparing for the final message, and I thought to myself, you know, the founder of this organization is Dr. Mary McLeod-Bethune, and I picked a quote. And you know how it's aligned? It's actually the same quote that's in this program. I couldn't have planned that if I wanted to. So we're going to say that was all divine as well. But there's some part of the program, but I'm just going to read the part, this quote that I love. It really captures all this moment. It says, I leave you love. I leave you hope. I leave you the challenge of developing confidence in one another. I leave you a thirst for education. I leave you a respect for the use of power. I leave you faith. I leave you the desire to live harmoniously with fellow men. I leave you, finally, a responsibility to our young people. So keep your inspirational box of messages, whatever they may be. Have the patience to persevere. Be resilient and take time for self-care, seriously. And have a sense of humor. Right. It's okay to laugh. Yeah. It is really okay. So let our strength in our past continue to give us faith in our future. Thank you.